Greetings, brothers and sisters, alive from Saigon. It's now. Welcome. They call me Rodney Josephson. So, tonight's wonderful episode from Saigon in the garden. As you can see, plants are growing. Nice weather. Well, you can't see if it's nice weather. Yes, it's very comfortable. Probably around 26 degrees or 79, 80 degrees. A little cool breeze blowing here. Very comfortable. Well, let's get into the show, shall we? So tonight is All Is Mind. In my Father's house there are many rooms, John 14:2. So we're digging into some ideas related to these expressions or expressions or concepts. Now, this All Is Mind is from the Kabbalion, and of course this is John from so-called Bible scripture. And we have another concept here is that I and the Father are one, and that's 2 John 10:30. So you can see that there's a triangular shape here. Again, you should not really think of lines and squares in that idea. But to represent what I'm talking about, of course I draw a triangle here. You call this the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, if you like. So we have the spirit, mind, and body. And God is in the middle. Now, what does God mean? God is all is God, meaning that the substance, the energy, the creation, all inclusive, which would mean, in simplistic terms, God, not a being that's outside of anything, just in all atoms, protons, neutrons, all matter and non-matter. That is God. God is everything. So, all is mind. It would have to be, I presume. So, the spirit sparks the life in, when the baby is, before the baby or the egg has started its formation. There's a spark, and of course that creates makes the so-called baby, or the cell divide into the formation of the baby, and then the baby exits into this wonderful world as it is. And so it is, isn't it? So as the baby develops, it begins to exist in this fictional paradise. And as the baby becomes an adult, younger adult, and so forth, the question would be: is that soul conscious of what it's doing anymore, due to the programming and so on in society and in the family and the context that the man or the woman, I'm just simplifying it, we'll just call it man, that the man has grown into the context of his life. So this Trinity idea is that the Spirit has given me the mind, the consciousness, to create the body or the physical, the matter. Now, how we can look at this in another way. If I am dwelling on negativity and doing negative things, well, that is my mind functioning in that loop of negativity or negative behavior. And that will show up in the body as illness or injury or what may come from my so-called activities in the mind and my behaviors. So I'm unaware of what I'm doing, and hence I'm creating a physical result, a correspondence in the body, in the flesh. So an illness or something will come up because of that, because I'm not consciously aware of my mind creating things, and so the physical world will show in matter. That means the skin or something, an internal organ or something will fail. We can use these physical plants as well. If I'm not consciously aware of how I'm treating these plants, there are technically two options. Yes, I live here. Yes, these plants are here. So I can do, well, there might be three ways of thinking this, but technically, if we're looking at, there's two options. I can water the plants sufficiently, not too much, not too little, or I can not water the plants. So if it's hot out every day, the plants will need water, and they can't get it from non-existent rain, so therefore they will start to wither away and most likely die. So therefore I should probably add water to them if I take care of them. Or if I'm choosing the opposite or the other way, I don't want to water the plants, and I neglect watering the plants, and over a course of a week or 2 weeks, they'll all be brown and most likely die, and they won't come back for now. Now, so we have two ideas. I can be good to the plants, or I not be good to them, or I could not care for the plants. I can care for them or not. Now, since I am conscious of these two options, that means I'm stepping back from these two ideas. So I can make a choice to be so-called good or not to the plants. Of course, the third idea is that I have no concept of good or bad, and maybe sometimes I add water, sometimes I don't, sometimes I just add too much water and they die anyway. So I'm technically out of control. I have no responsibility to what I'm doing. So there's kind of a third idea in there. However, I am conscious that they are plants and they're living and they need water. And I want to keep them alive because it's a very nice environment, right? So I want to dwell in a good environment, and I'm going to feed my plants water. Not too much, not too little. So this is the mind. Now we're going to go to this concept of in my father's house there are many rooms. Now again, I was giving you one example of plants. So here's my father's house as an example. And you can see there are probably many rooms in that house, but actually it's an infinite number of rooms if we want to look at it that way. So we could consider these as layers, visiting layers of memories, if you will. I have dwelling in context. If I'm unaware of my abilities of being conscious of what I am doing, I am not aware of what I'm doing. But let's just say I am aware that I am conscious, and I'm aware that I can do this or that, or do nothing, because I can separate from that. I am observing it from a different perspective of what I'm doing, or what's taking place in the external external world, if you will. So the idea of my Father's house has many rooms is that consciousness and that of the creation and the universe is forever expanding, and therefore there are many infinite number of possibilities, wouldn't that suggest? So the more I become aware, or stages of awareness of who I am and who I've been and who I will be, which is all in the now anyway. And I'll explain that in this idea, is that we have a smaller, medium, large. We can say that this is the grandson, and that's the father of the son, and that's the father of the son. Forever, growing up. And they're all tens at their level. Whatever level they are, they're a 10 of consciousness. And that level of consciousness could be, I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's a 10. So you begin to learn to accept that everyone is at their level of a 10. No one is above or below anyone else. They're just at a level of 10 for their existence in this reality that we are in, right? In the physical or in the spiritual. It's one and the same. It's one and the same in the sense that the more you become aware of these so-called levels, if you want to call them levels, you will begin to respect those people or beings or things around you more and more, or you should be anyway, because you're becoming more aware of that, right? Now, what I find that I know as being truth, because this is what I experience and what I know. So if we're talking about dreams or the dream state, I consider this all nothing more than a dream. This is a dream, a conscious dream. I am consciously dreaming of this dream, and I am very aware of it in this physical world, in the now. Now, if I am in a so-called daydreaming state, of course I'm doing something else. I'm going somewhere else in this fixed physical position, and I am traveling somewhere else in the mind. All is mind, isn't it? So I'm consciously aware, or I should be consciously aware of what I am dwelling in and on about. So I am more in control of what I am dwelling on or in, because it has its corresponding results. So what I find is that when let's say I'm going to relax or meditate or take a nap or sleep, I will do a short breathing process. Inhale, deep breathe and let it out. Let's say inhale for 4 seconds, and then I'll pause and then let it out for 6 or 8 seconds. I'll do that 3 or 4 times and think of relaxing my body and so on. So after a few minutes, my mind is getting totally relaxed, and I'll start going through these layers. Member. I'm already a member of everything. I mean, you are too. The question is, do you remember you are a part of this, infinite body of great oneness of love and all that? So as I'm beginning to fall asleep, I know I'm getting into that drowsy state, and all of a sudden these certain remember, I'm remembering memories as I'm going down. It'll just flash, a memory will come, a context, something that is happening, and then it will go away, and I'm going to another one. Maybe it was again, we'll have to revert to man's time, a past memory. But there is no past and there is no future. It's only what you remember. So you can dwell in something that you haven't remembered. So you're creating you're going to a place that you are, a context you are making, which already exists anyways. You're just remembering that wonderful context, if you might be able to follow what I'm saying. In other words, we create our contexts, which already exist because there are an infinite number of rooms in the Father's house that we can visit, which may be unique to each individual, but it all operates under the same universal laws and principles. So in my remembering, or my memories, I go through them. Depending, it might be different, a little bit different each day, but sometimes there are reoccurring memories that come through these phases. And so after I go through them, I get down to, let's say the void. Yes, the void. That means the nothingness state, where I actually are gone. I am gone. But then I will come back into a new state, a new context. And that could be a premonition or something that's saying that something is going to happen, in this physical world. It could be something that is I'm reviewing from what I should do. So these are the symbology or these ideas that might be repeating in the mind, all is mind, that need to be addressed, meaning that you need to have the wisdom and discernment to decide what it means for you. For example, if you have dreams of you're leading a train, well, you're the engine, aren't you? And you have cars behind you. and you're releasing the cars. That would mean releasing the old baggage, perhaps. And so releasing things you no longer need. So in that state of mind, there are things going on that you should analyze and deal with them. You know, whether you can do that in your so-called dreaming mode, you know, when you're on your bed and doing this, or you can do that in your so-called awakened mode or state. Anyhow, the more consciously aware of your abilities, you should be able to do or manage them in any of those states. The state meaning the dream state that you are in, because you are one with the Father. You are the creator. You are co-creating your context and existence. So we'll kind of wrap this up, is that everyone and everything is a 10 as it is, regardless of if it's a rock or a piece of metal, a plant. They're all parts or stages of matter vibrating at their own level of frequency. And as you begin to develop your internal state as being coherent, you will have a frequency or your magnetic fingerprint, if you will, or blueprint, and that will be your so-called identity as a spiritual being, and you will be able to navigate all of the wonderful things in this world and others. So I wrote here at the end to wrap this up is that for without consciousness and awareness of it, of being conscious, that is, it would be actually a meaningless existence, wouldn't it? That it would mean I would be a zombie or an AI. No consciousness, no awareness, no discernment. And so this is how I'll end it, is that, as it's always said, seek within, for the world is without. And as you become more aware of that meaning, you will be able to discern your internal wisdom, which is where it all comes from, because that's what our Father gives us to discern, because the world is without. So I think I have said this in a way that probably is understanding. I hope it is for you. Thank you all for visiting, and I give you great wishes and abundance and prosperity. And if you need any information, want some of my books, or want to comment or interact, please drop me a line. Listen to my music or whatever. It's all up to you. You're the kings and queens, right? So that's it for now. Alive from Saigon. Ciao.